Drivers behind the line. 3, 2, 1, go.
As we head into the autonomous 15-second period, everything's moving pre-programmed and clearly autonomous 3452 making use of their mechanism to try to piece game piece on the top part of their alliance station. 15-1 team thrust, successfully placing 2 of those game pieces, just short of that one for third, but still each of those were 7 points for their alliance. All the teams moved across that black taped line, only available during the autonomous period. The remainder of the 2 minutes and 50 seconds is all tele-operated. Human players pick up the controllers and drive the robots that their team built over the past season. 74-54 Huskies on top, making use of their green limelight for positioning around the field of play. Lots of those QR codes known as April tags. Teams can use those to define their location and assist the maneuverability with their team operator. 76-57 Thunderbots making their way, continuing to pick up game pieces from their human player station. They can only way to get additional coral into the field of play is get through that human player station, where teams will have to pick it up and then drop it off somewhere on the field to get those scoring points. Blue Alliance has one of those coral pieces placed pretty precariously. That is counting as a score as long as it's knocked off, which unfortunately just was. Red Alliance continue to make quick use of their human player station and game pieces. Thunderbots going for a potential stack down there on the lower part of the trough. Each of those only worth 2 points for their alliance, but if they can kind of tesseract those into a fine configuration, it's potentially worth a lot of points as these teams move to the upper echelons. Score is currently 34-58 in favor of your Blue Alliance, but over a minute remaining to continue and modify that. Team 34-52 continuing to work around their part of the robot station and trying to pick up additional game pieces and deliver them onto that coral reef. Those purple branches is where a lot of those game pieces can be displaced, with level 4 all the way at the top of that branch worth 5 points per game piece. 74-54 going for the forbidden climb on top of that game piece. They do need to get unstuck from that area before they continue moving around in the field of play, with just over 30 seconds remaining in the match. Team 1501 Team Thrust delivering an algae into the top part of their barge, worth 4 points for their alliance, and one of the few algae we've seen scored in this weekend's event just because of the focus on coral and that coral ranking point. 20 seconds remaining. We heard that sonar ping. Teams starting to make their way over to the cages and get elevated off the ground for additional points for their alliance. I believe that's 14 points teams that they get elevated off the ground. For the longer the chain, the more points they'll gain. A lot of teams going for that cage that's close to the ground, even though it's a lot harder to design around. 15-1 Team Thrust and 74-57 appear to be off the ground. But let's see how these scores total up. Here at qualification match 14, here at the Flint District Washington event, sponsored by Event Sense University Center for Applied Robotics and Automation and Indiana Toyota. Stick tight for those scores. And a nice parallel palindrome for you there. The Red Alliance is 49, taking home 5 of those ranking points, 3 for winning. And both teams for the hard work and autonomous crossing that taped line and scoring a coral somewhere, and for their work in the barge, that end game period where teams need to get elevated off the ground. Blue Alliance ultimately taking that win, though, due to their hard work in the coral with a score of 101. Stick tight for the next qualification match.